Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new series called the Definitive Toy Wrestling Belt Collection. I've been a wrestling fan for quite a long time, and I have collected 121 of the 124 title belts that I'm aware of, and I hopefully will have filled in the description with the full list of all 124 belts, and we are going to start off by doing the first 6 belts, which is the TNA AEW World Championship Collection. And the first that we start off with is the NWA National Heavyweight World Heavyweight Championship for the National Wrestling Alliance belt. This is the belt that started everything. Back in the beginning, Vince McMahon Sr. broke away from the National Wrestling Alliance and created the, at the time, WWF, because he was not happy with the NWA champion and created his own World Championship. Later, when World Championship Wrestling was created, they also used the NWA Championship before they decided to break off from that. ECW was also this very same belt, the NWA Championship, that defined their first champion before they discarded that and made their own Extreme Championship Wrestling belt. Then New Japan did the exact same thing, and TNA also held the NWA Championship for the start of their course before they switched over to just their own national championship, or the World Championship. And basically every organisation has used this belt to start off their company in some way from the very beginning era. And this belt is still around today, currently on NWA Power, which is currently being held by Nick Aldis at the time of recording, I believe. So let us take a look at this belt. I'm not sure where this belt comes from. It's very different from the other belts that you'll see later on. So as you can see, it has this nice... It is plastic, it's not metal. It's obviously a very good depiction of it. I don't know whether this was an event belt. It definitely wasn't a mass-produced one. It wasn't one that you could just buy in shops. This could even possibly be a custom because I've seen no information on it. But if it is a custom, then someone went to a hell of a lot of effort, and I don't know why. So as you can see here, it's got these points here, these little pins, which is the parts that keep it connected. You can see that it has this fake leather belt. It's good high quality leather belt. And you can see on the back of it, it has actual metal buttons as well. You can see in the back where the points have been put in. So this, like I said, this could be an event exclusive title. What an event exclusive title is a belt that you can only get from showing up to the actual wrestling event, or possibly a mail away order from the actual company itself. Which you'll see a lot more of those event exclusives later on, and a lot of them I've got information on, but this one I have no idea. It could have been an early TNA belt, because this looks like the same plastic plate that you'll see from the next belt. It could be National NWA Power that have released a belt that I'm not aware of. But like I said, this could be a one-of-a-kind custom. I honestly have no idea of it, but this is the belt that's number 1 on our little list. So generally I go from oldest to newest on these lists, and they're all categorized into separate areas. So this one is going to be all the TNA and AEW belts. So that is the first of our belts, and the second one, now this one I know for a fact is TNA. This is some people don't acknowledge this as a belt, but it technically is, because you can actually wear it. It is meant for a child to wear, but it is more of a playset. So as you can see, it is very, very strange. It is 2006 Marvel Toys is what created it. I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up there. It has these little clips where I think that's where the figures are meant to sit. And you're probably saying, what do you mean figures? And I'll explain that in just a little bit. You can see here that it is a large, bulky piece of thing, and it opens up, and inside it has this little TNA arena where these little bits fold up and create the ring, and it's supposed to come with a Jeff Jarrett and AJ Styles figure. Not easy to come by, relatively expensive to get your hands on a decent one. This was the very first TNA belt that they made. But as you can see, the plastic plates on this are very, very similar to the previous belt, which I'll bring back in. The difference being that this one has these bolts across it, but this is slightly higher quality than what this is. So honestly, I couldn't tell you if it's just a modification, if it's just edits. You can see that the stickers are kind of peeling off a little bit here, but that is just the quality that you get with this. But overall, this is not a terrible looking belt. It's a nice representation of the NWA Championship, which there isn't many. These are the only two toy versions of the NWA Championship. So that is belt number 2. And this one is official. It came in a box. It was widely produced and available in shops for a brief amount of time. And our third belt is the TNA. I think this is the Global Championship. Honestly, I watched the beginning of TNA, but kind of fell away from it. I think a lot of people did by this point. So I know there was a Legends Championship. I know there was a few other belts that they had. And this is the Global belt. Couldn't tell you much information about the actual belt itself. You can see this one is quite a bit damaged. They are hard to come by because this is a point when TNA wasn't particularly popular and they were still releasing things. So even in its time, a lot of shops weren't getting it in. And if we look at the back of it, it has this grey part here. You can see that it is made. It says the 2010 TNA Entertainment logo, made by Jack Pacific in 2010. And this is the very basic version of the Jack Pacific. You'll see this, you'll recognise it as we go on. And this was available in shops and came in a little cardboard box. So yes, this is the TNA Global Championship. That is number 3 on the list. Number 4 is the X Division Championship. I think because this is black rather than red, it's made of a slightly sturdier material. Good representation of the X Division title. I think this is the second design of the X Division title. The first one was a big giant X right across the front of it. I think this is a nicer looking version. They went with the modern belt when they made the title. And let us see the back of it. Very similar to the Global Championship. Same kind of grey colour. Used these same bolts. And once again, 2010. Same logo here that was on the Global one. And yes, this one, nice, good condition. It says TNA on it. It's the X Division Championship, which was their kind of version of the Intercontinental Championship or the United States Championship. It was the belt that they gave to the person they wanted to try putting the world title on. This was AJ Styles' first major championship, I think, unless he won the Ring of Honor Championship, which he might have. But this was his first major belt in TNA before he became world champion. And it had its own special match called the Ultimate X match, which was a very cool match that was very difficult to describe. It has 4 big wires going across the top, and then the belt is hung from the middle. So it's kind of like a ladder match, but you try and crawl along the sort of cords at the top of the thing. It allowed for some very cool and crazy stunts, like a really height Styles Clash off the top of this structure. So yes, that is the TNA X Division Championship. Let us move on. We next have the TNA World Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, which this belt had been retired and changed for a different belt, I think twice, but this belt is recently just came back. I think it's this one. And I think this is the one that Kenny Omega is currently holding. He's currently holding 4 championships. 2 of them are the TNA World Championship, which got unified by Rich Swann, and the other ones are obviously the AEW Championship, which he's holding, and the AAA Championship. And I don't think there's a AAA Championship. I don't think you can get a toy version of that. But let's look at the TNA World Championship, which is very nice. It looks very similar to the World Championship. The TNA World Championship doesn't have a lot of colour to it, but it's just a lot of engraving, which is exactly what this is. Just a mixture of gold and silver. And I think this is probably going to be 2010 by Jack Pacific again, yes. I think the 4 of these were all released in the same line. The 4th one, which I don't have, which I only discovered not so long ago, is the TNA Tag Championship. And because that was one that I newly discovered, it's in its own separate section. So if you are looking to collect all the TNA championships, there are 4 of them, technically 5 of them if you count that NWA one, because that was the original TNA World Championship when they were aligned with the NWA. But yes, I don't think there's any newer TNA belts. I think TNA kind of got to a point where they stopped making merchandise. So I think this is the most up-to-date variant of the TNA World Championship. And number 6 on our list is what is currently the only AEW title that is available, which is the AEW World title, which is very nice. It is 5 plates rather than the usual 3, just by its own design. This was, of course, originally held by Chris Jericho, then Jon Moxley, and currently Kenny Omega, so only 3 world champions at the time of recording. And let's just take a look at this. I don't know who it was that made this. I presumed it was Jack's, but maybe it's not. The only information we have here is on this little dot here. It says at AEW WOT made in China, and then you have the little logo with the CE on it. But no other information than that. But this is currently available in shops. Goes for $20 or 20 odd pounds, depending on what your area is. We're in the UK, so it's about £20 for us. You can get it for cheaper. Find quite a lot of these, not as difficult to get as some of the AEW figures, not particularly rare, quite a common piece, but very nice looking and a very good representation of AEW. And this is the only AEW belt that is available at this time. So that is going to be it for our first video. That is our first 6 belts of 121 belts. So we have quite a bit to go, and we will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.